Alright guys, today's video is basically a direct continuation of the last video. Last video we kind of went over the results of the half-mile race at Indy. You know, the Corvette ended up driving on a trailer. We had no issues there. Pulled into the garage, no issues there. But we might have hurt the head gasket, we might have hurt the motor. It's not making any noise, it's not overheating, it's not doing anything weird, but I just want to do some investigations to make sure we didn't screw anything up. So today we're going to make sure we're going to fire up the car, make sure everything sounds right. I don't have a infrared heat gun. My one from Harbor Freight died. So I'm just gonna do the old water bottle trick. Take some water, squirt it on the header, and see if each one looks like it's boiling off. It is, I think we'll have no issue. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get the Corvette fired up and make sure everything is working. And if not, we'll do some further investigation, pull the spark plugs, do compression test, look inside the cylinders and see what's going on. Alright guys, as I just demonstrated, we did the old water bottle test, and you know, the water was instantly steaming away on all the cylinders. I checked both sides, nothing was leaking, and so it sounded fine. Maybe we're just lucky and we were low on coolant, because I did pull the cap off and you guys can see there is coolant in there. That looks to be about the level that I filled it. So the coolant level looks fine. It looks to be about where we had it. Now guys, I did definitely do a dangerous thing. I did not let the car cool down. When we took that radiator cap off, I put a towel, I put some rags, and then I have my work glove somewhere underneath that. And that's just to prevent you from getting burnt, because that coolant is like 200 some degrees and it can spew out. When the cap almost came off, you could hear the pressure increase. So, you know, be very careful when you're taking radiator caps off on a hot car, because they can explode. We did as much precaution as we could. We didn't have any issue. And then at the end of the video, you guys heard the exhaust. It was sounding normal. It was chopping just like it normally does. So now for our initial investigation, all the signs to me look like they're pointing fine. I will go check the oil one more time, make sure there's no coolant in it, but coolant level looks like the level we put it at. The car is chopping fine. It doesn't sound like it's missing. And as far as I know, all the cylinders are firing and everything sounds good. Now, the one cylinder I was concerned about was this very front one, because like I said earlier, that's the cylinder where the head gasket blew. Everything seems fine. So, I don't know, maybe it's just a warning light that we, you know, obviously didn't ignore. We filled up with coolant. But like I said, I did send it for another 135 and I think 137 miles per hour or something like that. 2 back-to-back runs and the car had no issues. So I don't know, but let's go ahead, we'll check the oil and let me report back on that. All right guys, I just checked the oil level. It looked to be about the same where it was before we went racing. So I don't think we blew a bunch of oil out the motor. I'll have to check the catch can. That would be one other thing we could check, but I mean, everything seems fine. The oil didn't look like there's any coolant in it. It just looks like oil. It doesn't smell like coolant. So I think we're good, at least on the oil front. I do want to do one more check. I'm a little concerned about this back cylinder. And what I'm concerned there is kind of the same thing. It's like maybe we move the head gasket to another hole. And what I mean by that is when I was doing the water bottle test, I couldn't get a good flashlight view, if that makes sense. I couldn't get a direct shot of that cylinder and I couldn't see the water steaming off. I basically need to charge up my batteries on my flashlight, get in there with a ton of light, and we'll redo this test. But I mean, looking at it now, it looks dry. And so when my flashlight's finished recharging, I'm gonna go ahead, redo this test on the last cylinder, because like I said, it's just hard to get to. I could see it kind of rolling over it, but I couldn't see it boiling off. So we're just not 100% sure. I do have one specific update for you, and that is I have a dead tire. Not the drag radials that we're using. This right here, this is one of my factory 20-inch cup wheels. You guys will see a nice drywall screw through the middle of it. I tried to get the car inspected before we left for the trip because that was one of those things. It's like, if we blow the motor up, which is totally something you could do going half-mile racing, the inspection on this is due in the end of July. North Carolina DMV sent me an email saying, hey, your inspection is due. You can do it 90 days ahead of time. So I drove down to my guy. It was 90 days out. Give him the sticker. He's like, oh, I can only do these within 60 days. So wasted a trip driving down into Charlotte. Got a nice flat tire, and I was able to drive home no problem. But yeah, so that sucks. I might try and get that patched, but obviously this isn't a wheel I'm going to be road racing on or autocrossing. But for Sunday cruises, it might be just fine because it literally is right in the middle of the tread. I mean, it's literally right there. So that might be something they can patch. It might be something they can't. I plan on calling up the guys that did the rear drag radials, and they basically what they did was they installed our ET Street R's on the SPT forged beadlock wheels. All right, guys, we've been working on the Corvette yet again. You guys can see the engine is open, and if you look real close, you can see a compression gauge. Well, we'll get to that in a second. But first of all, we charged up the borescope camera, put that back down in the spark plug hole for cylinder number 7, the one on the furthest back on the driver's side. That is the one that was not passing the steam test, if that makes sense. I was pouring water on it, and you could see it go around the pipe, and then it eventually dried. Well, I think what happening, I think it was picking up the heat from the other cylinders, and it was just eventually drying off, but it wasn't instantly disappearing and flashing off like the rest of the motor was. So kind of suspected, I'm like, I think we may have popped another head gasket. So I took the spark plug out, and that's where we're at today. And if you guys can look at these pictures here, you will see some grooved rings. What those grooved rings are, that is the top of the piston. So there is no carbon on top of the piston. It might be miscolored, brown, black, and whatnot, but you guys can clearly see the grooved rings. And I'll try to include a picture here of there's like, if it looks like a shape of a number, well, that is actually the serial number for the top of the piston. And so, yeah, that is kind of a clear indicator that we have steam cleaned yet another port. And the only good thing is it's a different cylinder in the back than it was the one up front. So yeah, that instantly led us to, well, let's go ahead, get the compression tester out. We got it hooked up right there. And this might seem pretty familiar like it was a couple years ago. Well, let's go ahead, hit the starter relay. You guys will see that that gauge is not moving. So yeah, that's pretty much confirmation that we have popped another LS9 gasket. It's weird that it's on the same side of the motor, but it's not the same hole. Yeah, so we are down a cylinder. And that would kind of make sense because I had 2 really good runs, and then I had 2 kind of crappy runs. And I bet that rip where we got the 145 miles an hour, it let go shortly after that because the low coolant light did come on after that rip. And yeah, so I suspect that's when that popped. I haven't driven the car much after that. Yes, we did do 2 more runs, but the car wasn't smoking. It didn't really seem like it was down on power, but hey, if you're down 1 cylinder and your car makes 800 horsepower, so now we're down to 700 horsepower. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. So yeah, it's next we're gonna have to tear the car down yet again, pull the supercharger, pull the intercooler, pull all that stuff, pull the cylinder head off. But I think what I'm gonna do this time, I think I'm gonna pull both cylinder heads, and I am going to try a different type of head gasket. I will include a picture of it here. It's from SCE Gaskets. I think they call it their Vulcan Ring Fire cylinder head gasket. So instead of the LS9 gasket, which we've popped 2 of, I'm gonna go ahead and try this gasket. So what it is, it's a composite gasket that will, replace your normal cylinder head. Then in the center of that gasket, there are metal fire rings that will actually crush into the bottom of the aluminum cylinder head. So it's kind of like a mini hoop, but you don't have to machine either the block or the cylinder head to install it. And it's also not a copper head gasket, which I've seen people say that they have a lot of issues trying to run those on the street. So yeah, I think that's the road we're gonna go down. I'd already emailed SCE Gaskets, and they're the manufacturer. They recommended a 4.056 because our motor is a 4.010. That's the size of the piston that's in it. Now for the 6.2 liters, which are bored a little bit more, I think they're 4.10, something like that. They offer a 4.150 for those. Now, if we had an LS3, I would go ahead and switch to those, but obviously we still have the 6-liter block, and that's kind of my plan. Now, with these rings, they said you need a machine off 0.003 to 0.005 off the cylinder head. Now, guys, I think we've already done that. I have to go double check with my machine shop, the guy that's building the LT4. I should double check with him, but I'm pretty sure he already took 0.005 off. So I think he already took off the 0.005. If he already did that, then guys, I think we're good to go. Just buy new gaskets, get them shipped in here, put them on the car, and be done with it. Now the fact that I've popped 2 of these head gaskets, you know, each one of those gaskets is like $60 or $70. You know, going up another $75 to $100 per gasket. We might have to go ahead and do this once and hopefully call it done. Now, do I think we have any other problems going on? Actually, no. I think the setup is we just need to get a better head gasket in there. You know, we're running the 2650 kind of on a smaller size engine. And what I mean by that is we basically have a 6-liter with LS3 heads on it. Most guys are running this on a 6.2 liter, so there is like 9 cubic inches difference between the LS2 and LS3. And then some guys run a 408, you know, 416 or 427, whatever. So we might be over boosting a smaller engine, but then guys, you have to remember, I'm only running like the 2nd largest pulley. I think there's one larger one that you can make, but I don't think we're making enough power. We're only making 800. I don't think we're pushing it that hard. You know, honestly, if I went up a pulley size, we'd probably lose another 40, 50 wheel, and I'm not really willing to accept that. So I'm willing to give this current setup one more chance. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go ahead, order the gaskets. We'll get started tearing down the blower, get the heads off, double check the whole machining on that, whether it's 0.003, 0.005. I think we're already there. Go ahead, get all that stuff set up, and then we'll just put it back together. I'm not going to change anything, not change a blower pulley, anything like that. Now, I haven't done a compression check on all the cylinders in a while, but I'm pretty sure as soon as I, you know, beat on it like we did at the half mile, we're just going to end up blowing another stock head gasket. So that's why I'm not willing to go ahead and use the GM head gasket just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and get the head gaskets ordered. I will double check the machine work that was done on the cylinder head, and that's pretty much going to be about it. If we have to take the heads to get machined, guys, it could be a month, it could be 2 months. I don't know how long it's going to be, but hopefully the machine work is already done. All we got to do is replace the gasket, and we'll go from there. So I'm actually going to end this video right here, right now, because we're going to be out probably a while, either waiting for the cylinder heads, waiting for the gaskets, or a little bit of both. The only other thing I might have covered in this video was aligning the MGW shifter, but honestly, guys, they give you a tool, take the interior apart, center the tool, put everything together, and that's all you really got to do. It's not that difficult. If they didn't provide the tool, obviously I'd provide you with some instructions for it, but if they give you the tool to keep, that's what we did. So we'll just go ahead and do that, and we'll get the transmission looked at, and we'll get the motor torn down, and we'll start on the head gasket. So one last update before we go. I just did a compression check on the cylinder that we smoked 2 years ago, and yeah, it was 150, 160. So yeah, we're definitely down a cylinder. It's not the gauge. And so yeah, that's gonna be it. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more updates on the heads, head gaskets, all that stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. If you guys want to help support the channel, check out all the links down below. I will include a link to the camera that we used. Pretty sure I bought that on Amazon. I'll include a link to that, any of the tools we used, and that's going to be about it. Also, make sure you check our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. We've got a bunch of merch there. Go there, buy some stuff, and help support me rebuild the car. Well, when I mean rebuild the car, put new head gaskets in it, and go from there. So that's going to be it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.